Ryft update. All right, I told you guys when I first started to build this thing that the kit has 3 differentials in it. They only send 1 locker, which I had put in the rear end, and ordered 2 other ones here, one for the front axle and one for the transmission. Well, both of those are in there now. There's a part number if you ever need it. They're really simple to get in. It's just a little bit of a mess after you get it together and whatnot. But I'm an impatient SOB, and so that's what I had to do. But again, there's a part number. Specifically says differential spool RBX10. So that's something. All right. Secondly, transmission is out because of the diff being locked. Diff over on this side. I was getting ready to put the motor in. Motor I have here is just a censored brushless 3800 kV from Castle. Problem: this pinion gear, from what I was told today, is called a Mod 1. I've never heard of it, but apparently it is. And that gigantic hole, you see what the problem is. Yeah. So it's either source one or order another motor system, which I'm just not going to do for now. Well, I went and saw Auto today, and bam. So here we go. It's not so much for the kit. As you see there, this is a 32 pitch pinion, which is that right there. Obviously, let me get it down here. The light. But what we're interested in is this piece right here. This is a sleeve or shim to take up the slack on that shaft and that pinion. So we're going to try it. It may last, it may not, but just to get this thing up and running for right now, that is what I'm going to do. Because I priced a couple other motor systems that I would like to have, and I'm just not going to do it right now. Got other bills to get out of the way, and once those are out of the way, and if this motor is killed in the process, I'll do it then. But yeah, so I'm going to take that shim, put it on there with that pinion, mount everything up, put it in that transmission, put it back in the Ryft, and hopefully we're good to go. All right, so we got the motor in the transmission. That shim is in there. My lighting's kind of bad, but you see the shim is in there. And the mesh on the gearing is as good as it's going to get, because there's specific holes for each pinion. So I'm on the 17, which should keep the motor. I mean, it's got enough slop. The gears are steel, so I mean, I'm not worried about tearing up any gears. But there's enough slop in them. It shouldn't. The motor shouldn't get really hot. I know it's going to get hot, but it shouldn't get terribly hot. So let's get the case on it, get the cover back on it, get it mounted back in there, and see if we can get these drive shafts hooked up. One other thing I do have to do before I get really too far ahead of myself is I got to mount. There's a plate here mounts on these 2 screws, flat plate to mount the speed control. So I'm going to get that mounted. I'm going to go ahead and mount the first half of the drive shafts to the transmission, and then put the transmission back in the truck to make it a little bit easier. Just had the rear sections of the shafts to hook up. Should make this go a little faster. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so the shafts are on. Half the shafts are on, as you can see. That plate for the top for the ESC to sit on, it's on there. Motor's in. I hope I got it clocked in the right direction. There's plenty of lead on the wire to get around, but keep your fingers crossed, because when I took this out, I took it out of that window. I didn't drop the belly pan or the center skid. I'd rather have a root canal than have to do that. So if any luck, that will go back through that opening and mount down in there, and we should be so much closer to running. But just to show you, rear axle, was already locked, but the front is definitely locked now, as you see. It's up off the ground. The servo is mounted some crazy way in there. Servo saver, if you want to call it that, is on it. It's throws it at a weird angle, but it works. I was hoping to be able to use an aluminum, but the aluminum arms that I have take that steering link a little bit lower than it needs to go. So anyway, getting ahead of ourselves again. Transmission, window in the hole, screws hopefully done, and then a couple of drives. They got the other half of the drive shafts assembled, and they're just waiting to go in. So with any luck, this thing will go in and not wind up as a pile of parts on the floor over here from me getting frustrated. Hang on. The transmission went in the window flawlessly, and all the screws are in it. Even that one on the corner there. The drive shafts are in it now. I'm waiting for the, what do you call it, thread locker to do its duty. I'm going to flip it over and start sorting this thing out. So yeah, I went in there in one piece. It didn't cause me to start pulling my hair out, saying things that would make the Pope blush. And it did not wind up in a million pieces in the corner of the shop. So that is a definite bonus. Okay, so I messed up. I did mess up. I just noticed right there, that green looks really good. I need to back it up with something, but it still looks good. Obviously, this is for the steering servo, and it does have a receiver box, but it is up under the battery plate. So, needless to say, I was not real happy about that, but it's only 2 screws here, and I believe there's one under the backer that ties into the center skid, and then a receiver box will fall out of the bottom, and I can take it apart, put the receiver in there, start pulling all of the wiring to the receiver box, and then seal it back up, mount it back up in the spot it's got here for it, and then we should be ready to go. Don't know that I'm going to get to that this evening. I may or may not. I don't know. But I can tell you this much. I'm really happy to see this thing coming. We're getting closer to being run. It's been a long time, man, since I've had something I could just actually go out and beat the hell out of, beat the crap out of. And I'm looking forward to it because, man, sometimes life gets a little crazy. And so you need to blow a little steam. And that's primarily what that thing was built for, was to help me do just that. Appreciate you guys watching. Take good care of yourselves. I'll see you on the next video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and mash the notification bell. That way you know every time I put one of these things up. Don't forget to try to follow me over there on Instagram at Maverick506. The spelling's down on the bottom. 506, I'm sorry. And look, just be a decent human, and we'll catch you on the next video. Take care, fellas.